Hello, I'm Tony Robertson, and this is the first of a new series, Tony's Social Media Roundup. Today, traditionally, is Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Sunday, the beginning of NAIDOC Week. Due to COVID-19, NAIDOC Week has been moved to November, but in many communities today was still celebrated as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Sunday. So I want to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which I live and work, the Yagara and Turrbal peoples. I pay respect to elders past, present and emerging. The image behind me is this year's image for NAIDOC 2020 with the theme Always Was, Always Will Be. I also want to acknowledge the elders who have taught me about community, introduced me to culture, and made me welcome. So let's launch into the social media roundup. This is going to be a regular feature where I'll be looking at the work I've been doing in social media and also sharing with you some of my experience and understanding of social media. I hope you enjoyed the trip. I hope you find something interesting here, and I'd love to hear back from you as part of the conversation. So let's kick off. Social media has given us a whole new way of looking at the world. It's a new literacy, there are new logos, some new interesting words that we can use in Scrabble. Social media is not meant to impress, it's meant to impact, and that's certainly the approach I take to social media. How can I impact people? How do I understand social media? I like to see social media as a gateway. It's a gateway to information and support. It's a gateway to inspiration, and it's a gateway to interaction. Social media has broken through the conventional boundaries of our relationships in the global village, and that's something I find really exciting. We don't have a choice on whether we do social media. The question is how well we do it. I love that quote. Eric Qualman. Who is Eric Qualman, you might ask? And I did too. Eric Qualman is this amazing man who wears these fantastic green specs. Eric Qualman has a whole series of video clips, help tutorials, all sorts of stuff on using social media. Worth having a look at. I'm still looking through the stuff, finding it absolutely engrossing and really worth knowing about. So I suggest if you want to know something about social media, follow Eric. Okay, let's go into what I do in social media. I want to begin by introducing you to my web blog, Just Living with Tony Robertson. You'll find this under the justlivingoz.blogspot.com, a freebie. Love freebies when I can get them. This blog is a launchpad to my various social media platforms, and also is a bit of a summary. Each month now, I do the featured social media posts. I'm very aware I have a diverse audience across a number of platforms, and not everyone does Facebook, not everyone does Instagram, not everyone does Twitter. So on this site, I usually grab some of my featured media posts for the previous month and focus on them for those that want to do a little bit of browsing through the site. So there's a few clips there from some of the YouTube clips that I've looked at and focused on, news about NAIDOC Week, particularly focus on Black Lives Matter issues. And there is that great photo. Rather than joining the large rallies in the city, I decided to do a one-man protest in my local suburban shopping centre at Westfield. Again, taking the message into a population that doesn't often encounter social statements. In fact, as I walked around Westfield, I realised I was the only person wearing a t-shirt like this. And so I took a stint as a mannequin in the Maya store, and it did attract a bit of attention. I even got one of the staff to take a photo. How cool is that for a whole new way of doing social protest? Again, as you would expect, a few of my political campaigns that I was involved in through the month of June, a couple of people who passed away in June I wanted to honour, winter solstice, and of course can't finish without a little bit of humour. The Kransky sisters, you can't be Australian and not admire, love, and want to see more of the Kransky sisters. Every month on this page, I publish a calendar of what I call just dates. These are insignificant dates from the United Nations calendar and other sources, which I celebrate and invite you to celebrate. These dates I offer in a way of helping all of us to act justly, love tenderly, and walk humbly on the earth. So this page is one you can follow if you're not doing a lot of social media but would like to know what I do on social media. You can follow this page and join the rest of the little community who are growing amongst my followers. So let's have a look at what I do on social media. Tony's social media, right. I have a number of sites on Blogspot, and I have some of the traditional sites that you'll find in social media platforms. Brisbane Images is a page on Facebook where I celebrate and focus on my photography. Again, if you have Facebook, I invite you to come and follow this page. This is where it features albums, etc., from my work in the local community. And if you don't have Facebook, that'll keep popping up, inviting you to take up a Facebook page. This includes some portrait work as well as covering community and other events around the place. So that's Brisbane Images on Facebook. I have a LinkedIn page for those that do LinkedIn. On my LinkedIn page, I focus on my volunteer work largely and also on my participation in two NGOs. One is Lush Australia, where we live as people with and without intellectual disability, building community, challenging prejudice, and welcoming people into community. So there's that community, and also Palms Australia, where we are engaged in cross-cultural relationships in the Pacific, Africa, and other developing communities. So I use LinkedIn as a way of focusing on those issues, building relationships and connections with people, peers, and others who are interested in that area of community development in particular. Twitter, yes, I tweet. I tweet every day. Well, I don't tweet every day. I tweet quite a lot, though. I find Twitter is informative. It's one of those platforms I use for my news source. I share from different people that I have as followers and I follow, particularly celebrating good journalism. I have a number of friends overseas. I pick up, as you can see there, just scrolling down, so a range of topics that I like to focus on. Again, some of them overlap with Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, but each of those has a slightly different audience. So I find that Twitter, again, is a good way of pointing to issues, readings, news items that you would like people to pick up. Twitter's interesting. I don't get a significant amount of interaction, but I find it useful just for following news sources and journalists in particular, as well as LinkedIn. I have quite a number of journalists on my LinkedIn page. Okay, on my Instagram page, as you might expect, lots of photos. And Instagram is really handy for sharing news, views, and just what's happening around the place. I use Instagram a couple of times a month. It's really good, really useful. I have, again, another set of followers on Instagram. And there, if you don't have Instagram, the little box will pop up inviting you to join Instagram, of course. If you, so, let's see what else. Many of you will know that I work as a community photographer, so I have my own blog. At the moment, I am doing a shoot on Lens on a Pandemic, mainly photographing both signage and furnishings and public space, how public space has changed because of COVID-19. So that's the current project that's happening. This is great. Can you capture the essence of the contemporary society in a single image? So this is happening at the moment. I love photography invitations where you can do all sorts of interesting things around the place, and I feature different albums from time to time. This album will also feature quite a lot of my portrait work with people I've met and engaged with, particularly on this side of Brisbane, crossing the boundaries of gender, culture, and other elements of diversity. And of course, a YouTube channel for my video work. I haven't done a lot lately on YouTube, but there is a massive collection there. A lot of clips from Invasion Day rallies, from community gatherings, particularly with the refugee and asylum seeker communities. So this goes back quite a few years. You'll see there that stuff's going back to 2011. Um, and even earlier than that, you will find there's a whole range. My biggest video is 34,000 clips from a clip at the old St. Mary's in Exile that really attracts a spectrum of opinion across, yes, across religion and what does it mean to be Catholic. That's an interesting one there. So my YouTube channel, again, about diversity, culture, and community. So I invite you to come along, have a browse, and follow, because I will be doing some more clips along the way. My media portfolio is just a summary of published works in text and images. Over the years, I first began writing for media as a 14, 15-year-old in Geelong, in the days when you wrote letters to the editor. My first letters were about protesting Australia's participation in the Vietnam War. I was encouraged in my writing in my second form at school by one of the teachers at St. Joe's Christian Brothers College, who really nurtured us as writers, and that's been a passion for most of my life and has become a passion here in my social media platform. So that's where you can find me in social media, and I invite you to come along with me on the journey to engage, because part of social media that I love is the engagement, the interaction, and conversations. I do have a personal Facebook page that is not in the public realm. It's open to friends of friends. So if you want to know more about that, you will find me as Brizzy Mentor in Facebook. And one of the things I learned about Facebook is the importance of storytelling. The two posts most recently which have attracted the most response and interest is a post early in COVID-19 where I spoke about what it was like not going out and about, and the fact that for the first time in my life, I baked scones successfully. And that post attracted a major amount of interest and lots of comments from people sharing their experience of baking scones. The other post is more recent. Just a few days ago, I lost my wallet at Westfield Carindale and did the usual thing. I sat down and planned out a strategy for how I would go looking for the wallet. No, I didn't. I went into panic mode, screaming, shit, swearing, carrying on, raced across to Westfield to discover that it had been found and handed in by a young fellow in the shopping centre. Telling that story has also generated incredible interest, and I'm really grateful to that anonymous young person who left no details for me to give thanks. So I have to send thanks out to the universe, and of course a nod to St. Anthony of Padua, who probably had a hand in it somewhere there. So storytelling is another significant and really important element of our social media conversation interaction. So it's about information, it's about inspiration, it's about interaction. I hope you enjoyed this overview of my social media platforms. I'll be doing this each month with a focus on one particular angle that I've been working on, and I invite you to revisit, like this site, and you'll get a little email message letting you know when the next video clip comes up. So thanks for watching, and this is on YouTube, so let me know what you think. Feedback is always welcome. Always love to hear from people. And I too, I engage quite strongly in social media by sending comments and likes, letting people know this is a conversation, not a monologue. So until next month, thanks for coming on the journey.